Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the session. Presently, we'll be dealing with this subject strategic management. In the strategic management, we'll be dealing with a subject called as business policy and strategic management. What do you mean by business? What do you mean by business policy, and what is its relationship with the strategic management? Is the biggest issue here. The policy is a policy that there is one difference between a policy and a strategy. A strategy is dynamic, whereas policy is a static in nature. Business policy includes all those aspects which are static in nature, and strategy includes all those aspects which are continuously changing. And there are also a couple of differences between business policy and strategic management. And some of the differences includes business policy is prepared by studying only the internal environment, but strategic management is prepared by studying both the internal as well as external environments of the businesses. Presently, we'll be sharing a screen so that to elucidate what is the relationship between business policy and the strategic management. What is a business policy and what is a strategic management? Policy is a plan of action. Strategy is a plan of action. Business policy is a plan of action which indicate how indicates all aspects internally, and they are restricted to only the internal study of an environment. That is, a policy can be formulated only after studying the internal environment of a business. Whereas a strategy, before it is prepared, they will be studying both the internal environment as well as external environment of the business. What are the characteristics of the policy? First and the foremost characteristic of a policy is it is simple. It is easy to understand the policy because it is prepared well by the top management and it is executed at all levels. And it is clear. It is clear in the sense there is no ambiguity terms present in the policy, and it is easily understood. There are no technical jargons in the policy, so that the implementation phase will be very easy. Next, flexible. It is flexible because it is subjected to change based upon the situations present in the market, and certain. It is definite and concrete. It is definite in the sense there is certainty that the policy will be implemented, but strategy, sorry, unlike policy, is non-definite and dynamic because it continuously changes from time to time, whereas a policy remains static as long as the business managers and the businesses determines. What do you mean by consistent? Consistency in the sense, consistency includes it has a stable performance. That is, its performance is cannot be restricted to few cases, and it is continuing. Its performance can be stagnant. It's not stagnant, but the performance can be registered certainly for it runs for a certain period of time. It is relevant in the sense it must achieve the goals of the organization, and it relates to the current business situations and the environments of the organization, environments present. Next, it is comprehensive. It is comprehensive in the sense that it has a broader area of business. Its definition has a broader area, and it includes unification of all the elements present in the company or a business firm. Stable in the sense it is permanent and certain to happen. The very less number of changes are acceptable, and the constant changes cannot be made in the policy once it is formulated and once it is executed. It is difficult to make the changes in the policy. What's the difference between a strategic management as well as a business policy? Business policy includes guidelines for the managers to take appropriate decisions, whereas strategic management is a plan of action which is usually for a longer period of time. And second difference that the second difference that we will see is it strategic management is a time includes deadlines, or what we can say that the policy is put into effect within a certain period of time, but there are no definite time limits for the execution of business policy or for the flexibility of the business policy. Next, a business policy has no definite time limits. Next one is strategic management is no predetermined. All of a sudden it happens. It is a reaction. It is reactive in nature, but a policy is a proactive in nature. It guides the action in many times. Next, strategic management includes taking crucial decisions at right patterns in right patterns at right point of time. But these policies can be designed. These policies are delegated to the others, and these helps in execution part of the business. Strategies are specific actions, whereas policies are accepted by all the people in the organization. They are through understanding of the organization, and they help in decision making of the organization. Next, so the other differences includes strategy is action oriented. That is, results are immediate without any effect. But a business policy is prepared all of a sudden. Business policy is not prepared all of a sudden, but it is thought oriented. It is a plan. It's a pre-planned executed action, and everyone is empowered by implementing the strategic management, but the power is delegated only to the top, from the top management to the subordinates for its implementation. Strategy are means to an end, means it is if the goals are accomplished, strategy is executed, but policy are just guidelines. Strategies includes a large number of uncertainties as well as risks, whereas a policy is a future course of action usually done to achieve certain objectives. Strategy is to mobilize the available resources, whereas policy is a guidelines that governs and controls the managerial actions. What is the importance of business policy? The main importance of business policy is that there is a good controlling system installed in the business policy, and these controlling mechanism can be restricted, can be directed, can be facilitated, so such that the results are good. In one word, we can say that there can be an effective control system in the organization. Second one is there will be good communication across all levels, because the business policy is framed only after consultation with all the levels of the people, and it is beneficial to all levels of the people, irrespective of the department, irrespective of the nature. Next, policies are very clear, and they can be easily understood for the smooth running of the organization. Sometimes policies relating to giving the bonus, incentives, fringe benefits, etc., helps to motivate the employees and achieve the targets in no time. Next, policy review. Policy review in the sense, once the policy is implemented, it is easy to review the policy. That is, sometimes we can analyze what sort of policy it is, and what are the things that we keep in mind while preparing the policy, and while implementing the policy, what are the end results of the policy. Everything can be perfectly evaluated. It's economically and efficient, in the sense the policies are sometimes deal with consuming less amount of financial resources, and they are completely efficient to carry the day-to-day operations of the company. Coordination of efforts, in the sense different levels of organizations are coordinated together for the implementation of the policy. Policy implementation does not consider a single department, but it considers a large number of departments at a time. Next, high morale, the sense of satisfaction that it delivers is higher than any other benefit that it gets. Types of business policies. There are many types of business policies. The business policies can be classified into a number of types. One of the type is called, based on the origin. First one, originated policies. These are formulated by the top management. These act as guidelines to the subordinates to follow the policies. Second one is imposed policies. These are usually framed by the state or central government, and these are compulsory to implemented by the organization. Affiliated policy. Sometimes these are the policies which are formulated to have a certain reaction to the threats that are encountered into the environment of the business. According to the organization structure, they are divided into two types: internal policies as well as external policy. Internal policies are directly controlled by the employees and other people, whereas external policies are generally formulated based upon the external environmental threats that the company faces, and this external policy also aims at redesigning the organizations as a whole. According to the mode of expression, these policies are divided into three types: written policies. These are formal policies which are stated by any of the organization, and sometimes these formal policies will avoid the confusion and misunderstandings also. Whereas oral policies, there is less amount of authentication. These are delivered through the word of mouth, and these are less authenticated when compared to the written policy. Implied policies, in the sense, sometimes they are orally communicated as well as given written form. Based upon the situation, they are given either in the form of written or in the form of oral. According to the importance, the policies are divided or compared on the basis of fundamental philosophy. The basic policies are, the basic policy is one, which is a fundamental aspect of business. For example, providing the salaries and incentives will become the basic policy of any of the organization. Major policies, in the sense, these are concerned with the major issues like expansion and merging and other things take place. Minor policy includes routine matters like amount of discount to be given, the delivery times, delivery schedules, etc. Promised as per schedule. Next one, according to scope, these business policies are divided into three types. Some policies are formulated by the middle level managers, whereas specific policies are formulated by general manager. In general, no special authorities are authority is given to people for the formulation. Example is the departmental policy, which is restricted only to that department which is present, and sometimes there are directed policies which involves in the places where decentralization is not possible. The manager himself directs the company to achieve the goals or targets, etc. According to the levels of management, there are three levels, as we know: the top, middle, and low level. The managers, the top level managers formulate, they are called as top level policies, example, budgeting and product launching. Upper middle level managers, middle management policies. These are the policies which are formulated by middle level managers, and these middle level managers link it with the major policies of the organization. It's a small framework which gives us a complete outline regarding what do you mean by a business policy, what is the relationship that it has with the strategic management. In this class, we have discussed the differences between business policy and strategic management. Along with it, we have also discussed the types of business policies as well as nature, importance, and scope of business policies to be covered. Thank you. Hope you will like this class.